Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast right here on the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Channel, brought to you by GamblersWorld.net, where we have 10 of the finest handicappers in the country, including myself, Chip Chirimbes, 8 other guys, and Chip is with us today, and so is Mr. Doug Upstone of DocSports.com. Doug's one of the finest handicappers in the country. You can find all his picks, premium picks, over at DocSports.com. Me and Chip at GamblersWorld.net. If we don't win, we don't make a profit on any single game, multi-game daily package, or any subscription plan of 30 days or fewer over at GamblersWorld.net. We will credit your account back the exact amount of your purchase price. So, again, without further ado, Chip, how are you, my man?
I'm doing well. I mean, the Megabucks are just rolling along, sweeping the NBA board over the weekend, and just looking forward to each and every day. And today, we also have a very special game in Major League Baseball. It's called My Don't Make Sense Winner. And I'll tell you about that later.
I could only imagine, but today is May 20th, and I'm sure something might have happened today in the world of sports.
Ross, we had the Black Sox scandal in 1919, if you all remember. I remember it well. And as a matter of fact, it was 2 years later that Babe Ruth was traded to the Yankees from the Red Sox. But before that, in 1920, on this date, 24 patrons were arrested in the bleachers for gambling. Nowadays, the Cubs would be booking that action in Chicago. But in those days, 24 people were arrested. And I guess they were cracking down because of what had happened the year before with the World Series being fixed by the Cincinnati Reds. And so that's an anomaly. I don't see that ever happening again when they're sitting out there and each team in major leagues and virtually all the sports are advertising about their particular sports book for you to get down on. So
yeah, you could bet right in the stadium now, you know.
Well, yep. So, and the other thing in sports, I can tell you is that Roger Clemens in 1984 won his first game on this date.
Very good. There you go. Chip's a historian in the world of sports betting, and we always look forward to his small segment in which he fills us in on what happened on that particular day in the world of sports. Doug, how are you, man?
I'm doing good. I'm just trying to remember what I had for breakfast. So I'll just go. I'll go with that. But hey, it was a nice weekend. Hit some big plays. Had a 7-unit winner on Kansas City Saturday for best bet run line play. Thought I had the Preakness figured out, but came up short. Seize the grace, seize the moment, and so that was interesting. I think Chip or one of you two had the Timberwolves. I know yesterday. Yeah. I can't remember who exactly, but so that was a nice winner. So yeah, so just overall a nice solid weekend going across the board. And today I have a big a rarity for me, even a big 6-unit play in props going tonight in Major League Baseball. So excited about that one.
Doug's a big props guy, and he does very well with that stuff. Yeah, Chipper not only had Minnesota Chippers coming off a 3-0 day yesterday at GamblersWorld.net, rolling as usual. In NBA, he's locked in again, and I'm glad to see that. So, Chipper, just fill the folks in a little bit about not only your 3-0 day, which you may have coming up tonight or in the foreseeable future, and what else you want to share in terms of promotion-wise, Chipper.
Well, thank you, Ross. I sure hated going against the Knicks with Indiana as my top play yesterday, but I just couldn't see the Knicks being there, and we won that one easily. Minnesota may have been a bit of surprise for them to win outright. And in Major League Baseball, we did have San Diego over Atlanta in the Sunday night game, which brings our Sunday night record at Ross to 4-1 with Megabuck plays on the season. And we've now won 5 straight Megabuck 8-play winners in the NBA, raising our record to 19-7 since the NBA playoffs have started. So we're really feeling good. We have the momentum in baseball now. We're picking up. We hit both Megabucks over the weekend. So it's just a day in the life here, Ross. We just post a single strongest play each and every day. That is the A play. And today in Major League Baseball, have a particularly strong game. It is a play of the month. So once again, just follow the baseball because that's been doing as well.
Yeah, Megabucks is Chip's terminology he uses for his best bet of the day. Back in the day, he called it the A play, one and the same. And at our site, and it's similar at Doc's too, but with the exception that our site is a 5-unit or 10-unit play is our top place. And just so you know, folks, we can't throw 5 and 10-unit plays out there every day. We're permitted to use 6 5-unit plays and 2 10 unit plays per month. So it's not like somebody's trying to, a race to the top by just rating plays 5 and 10 stars every day, even though they're not they're not rated, shouldn't be rated that high. How could I put that? That's the best I could put it. Anyway, the best I could also put it too is my NBA 1-1 yesterday. I had Indiana just like Chipper. I lost with the over in the late game between Minnesota and Denver. And my NBA postseason still, folks, since 2022, 112 and 64, which is good for 64%. That includes 35 and 16 this year, which is 69%. And Major League Baseball since August the 4th of last year on a 70 and 51 run. Not a great win percentage at 58%, but when you consider the fact I don't put out any big chalks, very seldom reach 140 or above, if ever. So your rate or your return on investment will be awfully good. Okay, let's get to our free picks today, and they all come in Major League Baseball. Chipper, let's start with you. The New York Mets with Tyler McGill will travel to Cleveland to take on the Cleveland Guardians, who are surprisingly playing very good baseball this year with Ben Lively on the mound. And right now, Cleveland is a minus 125 money line home favorite. The total in this game is 9. Chipper, what do you got for us?
Well, this game, I guess the storyline here is going to be the return to Cleveland with Francisco Lindor, who's currently hitting 197 for the Mets and hasn't posted a batting average of over like 260 in the 3 years. This is his fourth season with the Mets. When he comes over with a lifetime average of 275, and he's been a major disappointment, paying $318 million. Lindor had a little pop in his bat, but he just seems to be the big rally killer for the Mets right now. Cleveland at 30 and 17, like you said, is a big surprise, I think, and they're leading the division. Ben Lively is 3-2 lifetime against the Mets, 2.25 ERA. But aside from Lindor, this Trevor McGill, he has struggled whenever he's made an appearance against Cleveland. He is, believe me, wait a minute, I have this here. He's 0-2 with a 4.4 ERA. But Cleveland, I think, at home is going to get the best of the Mets. There's just too many holes in this Met lineup, Ross. I mean, even your best hitter, supposedly Alonso, he's hitting 215. He may be a power guy, but they just don't have the overall balance and power in the right places. I think Cleveland is a real steal here at that price. And, I don't like prices that sort of invite me in. But I guess they're giving the Mets some kind of respect here, and I just don't see it. I think Cleveland's a much better club, and I don't think the Mets are really going anywhere this year. I take Cleveland in this game.
Yeah, sometimes it's a matter of not getting too cute, right, Chip? Where we overthink things and we outthink ourselves, for a lack of a better phrase. And I certainly, Doug, the Cleveland Guardians have been a surprise early on, quite frankly. I don't think many people thought they would be in the position they are now. I don't know if this is sustainable, what they're doing, but I do know they're playing good baseball up until this point of the season.
Yeah, they certainly are. And the big difference is, when they went in the tank a few years ago, or more or less did, just they had good pitchers, and they continue to bring up excellent pitchers through the ranks. But, they started over basically with the players on the field. And so they had a lot of young guys, and the younger guys starting to hit. Okay, so kind of figuring it out. The run scored is much better than what it's been the last several years. So that's been a big difference for this team just overall, and to go along with the pitching that they have. The Mets come into this one. They've lost they're 2-3 on their road trip. Here's something, though, to consider. When they have gone to the AL Central teams, they have lost 8 out of 9. Now, where are they going? They're going to Cleveland. Now, the Guardians are off an impressive home sweep of Minnesota over the weekend. I thought that was commendable. Okay, I mean, Minnesota been playing pretty well. Now they're 15-6 at home. Okay, Cleveland is. And here's Ross knows about these types of things, and I know likes these as well. When a team is off a 3-game sweep over a division rival, and their next game is an interleague game, they are 38-9 since 2000. So I'm going to take Cleveland, just like Chip, on the money line.
There you go. Doug just stated a betting angle. And folks, that's not a trend. It's a betting angle. He gave you a specific situation that applies to all teams in Major League Baseball and how they respond in that situation. So that's a really good betting angle at 30-9, was it, Doug?
38-9.
38-9, even better. Let me ask you guys a question, and then we'll get on to our next pick. Chip, is what Cleveland is doing right now, in your mind, is it sustainable?
I do think so, because baseball is such a long season, and it is really difficult, of course, to sustain that kind of record. But it just seems like they have their other ducks in a row. I mean, they're playing and I think are not being they're being taken for granted, maybe, shall I say, or they're being underrated, and people are overlooking them. Their pitching has been pretty good so far, and they're coming, like Doug said, they're coming through with a few big hits, and it's a tough call to go all the way. I mean, who's their competitor in that division? Detroit's much better this year; they really are. But I think Cleveland is still the cream of the crop as far as that division is concerned.
Yeah, when I say not so much the winning pace that they're on, Doug, but the sustainability to win even at a lesser clip, and still right now, the way it's going, they're going to run away with the division. Now, Detroit, Chip brings up a good point. Yeah, I can make a case that Detroit has much better starting pitching than anybody in that division right now. But your take on the sustainability, and can that occur with Cleveland? Or
here's the if you followed how the early season schedule, a lot of teams have not played many division games. And the one thing that's different, aside from the White Sox, I mean, everybody in the division isn't bad this year. I mean, we're not talking the AL East here, but we're talking about at least there's some quality competition. I personally don't like Detroit much because they can't hit. Okay, now they hit some in Arizona over the weekend, but that's been a rarity for them. Now, if they start to hit, maybe they get better. But yeah, I think Cleveland is sustainable in the fact that, do I think that they can go well into September as a contender in that division? I say yes. Kansas City, though, I really like that club. Maybe even more than Cleveland, but it's certainly equal. So yeah, I agree. I think Cleveland can continue to do well, but I think their record might go down a little bit only because the division is better and start playing more division games that might level off a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about sustainability, and we talk about teams that overachieved so far. The Kansas City Royals would certainly be on that list. And Chip brings up a very good point that at this point he feels that Cleveland is underrated. And when they're underrated, they're undervalued in the sports betting world. And again, like Chip said, they're minus 130. He usually doesn't fall for traps like this, where a team that's got that good of a record especially against the opponent they're playing tonight, in the New York Mets, who have struggled and been inconsistent all year, you can get that cheap a price. But he thinks it's more attributed to the Guardians still being underrated and undervalued at this point. I think that's fair enough, right, Chipper?
Yeah.
All right, so let's get to before we get to the next game that Doug's going to be covering between the Mariners and the Yankees, that me and Chip are going to be real interested in what you have to say in this game. But in any event, folks, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, which is Winner's Circle Sports Betting Channel, I don't know what you're waiting for. You're privy to some of the best sports betting experts in the world right here. And shows such as these go on 5 days a week. And it doesn't cost you anything. And all you need to do is hit that subscribe button, or if you're on your PC, hit that WC logo in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. And also, folks, while you're there, and if you have subscribed already, we appreciate each and every one of you who have. But if you have not clicked on the alert notification bell for the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Channel, you should do so. It provides you a nice convenience, so you don't have to keep coming back and forth to YouTube to find out when our show comes up. You'll be notified immediately upon us publishing any of our 1 of 5 podcasts weekly. And also, a really important thing, folks, especially the folks over at Gamblers World want to see this because they want to know that what we're putting forward is working. And just a small token of your appreciation for the time, work, and effort we put in to bring you a quality podcast each and every day, and to making you a smarter sports bettor today than you were yesterday. just click that like button. It's real simple. Costs you nothing. It's just a small token of your appreciation. It would make each and every one of us smile, and we love to smile. Anyway, Doug, the Mariners and the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. The Mariners going with Logan Gilbert, and the Yankees with Marcus Stroman. Right now, the Yankees a minus 130 money line home favorite. The total an 8. Not to steal your thunder, but Stroman's ERA looks very impressive. What bothers me with him is the whip is in the 140s. And that when I see stuff like that where you have a really good ERA, but a whip that's sort of bordering on not so good, either a pitcher is really good at getting out of jams or he's been extremely lucky to this point. It's a matter of time before that backfires on him. And then Logan Gilbert doesn't do very well when he faces the Yankees, does he?
That's for sure. Now I'll get to that in a second, but I've got to talk about how the Yankees are playing. I mean, the Yankees 7 in a row. Okay, that offense is percolating right now at 5.8 runs per game in their last 8, which is nearly a full run higher than what their season average is. Now, of course, we know how well that they're doing overall, 33-15, and their run differential is the tops in the American League as well. So the best record, best run differential. You know what? You guys were talking before about the previous game with Cleveland. This line seems a little bit low. Okay. Also, I mean, just even from a Yankee standpoint, and to me this year, at least to this point, we're seeing. Usually the Yankees are overvalued. I haven't seen a lot of numbers that I thought, boy, that just seems like out of the normal range. So that shows a little bit of mistrust, at least to me, from the odds makers. Seattle comes in. They're also a first-place team, but easily the worst division leader in Major League Baseball at 25-22. Now, in this case, the Mariners can pitch. They're only giving up 3.7 runs per game each and every game, but their offense is atrocious, 3.8 runs per game, which is 26th in Major League Baseball. Ross brought up Logan Gilbert, 3-2, 3.07 ERA, been a good, solid pitcher. And Stroman, a decent 3.3 ERA is good, but as Ross mentioned, huge differential in these two pitchers in their whip because Gilbert's at 0.95 versus 4.14 for Stroman. But Ross, the thing you just brought up, Gilbert against the Yankees, 7.97 ERA in 4 starts. That spells trouble to me. Also like the fact that the Yankees this season, 27-9 against right-handed starters. Let's take the Yankees minus a pretty fair 130 on the money line in this one.
No argument here. Gilbert, you mentioned his numbers against the Yankees. He actually, in his first career start against the Yankees, threw 7 innings of scoreless baseball. But since then, he's made 3 starts since the beginning of 2022 against the Yankees, a 12.15 ERA, a 2.25 whip, and allowed 6 home runs in just 13 third innings pitched. And the Yankees right now, Chipper, 7-game win streak, as Doug alluded to. Their last 6, their pitching has just been phenomenal. They've allowed 2 runs or less in each of those contests. Now, having said that, they did play the Chicago White Sox in the last 3 games who can't hit their way out of a paper bag. And also the Yankees, when they face a right-handed pitcher like Logan Gilbert this year, 27-9. And when they face a left-handed starter, just 6-6. I don't know what to make of that, but Chipper, you could add a little fuel to the fire here.
Well, the Yankees were fortunate they got off that Soto got off this fast start because Judge was absolutely horrendous in April. Now nobody can get Judge out at all, and it seems to be the timing of the way the Yankee lineup is producing runs is really beneficial when you have the lowest ERA among any pitchers in Major League Baseball right now. The Yankees are pitching a 2.81 ERA, which is pretty darn good. 7 straight wins, like you said. They seem to have the momentum here, and they seem to be playing well. This Gilbert, you guys with that 7.97 ERA, that just jumps at you. And the Yankees have done this without Cole. I mean, they have their Cy Young Award winner, and their pitchers are coming up really big. I think until the Yankees start hitting the doldrums or their holes start being more, readily visible, I think that they're a play. And I would play the Yankees here. Seattle started 11-4 in April. and they've only gone 8-9 in their last 17 games. So they are the division leader, but still, I think the Yankees are a far better club. And although Seattle does have this depth in pitching, I'm going to stay with the Yanks.
Yeah, the Yankees just, and we've been following, me and Chipper, the Yankees, since we've been little kids. And, we had discussions a few weeks back and saying there's some holes in the lineup.
Yeah.
But, when you start Stanton starting to come around and it seems to be somebody different even night, even Gleyber Torres has shown signs of life of late. And, the other part of the equation here with the Yankees, over the last 7 games, they've hit 16 home runs. And like I alluded to, Gilbert, 3 starts since 2022 against the Yankees, a 12.15 ERA, and a lot of that has to do with that high ERA, I should say, has to do with he allowed 6 home runs in 13 and a third innings pitched. So I don't know, man. The only thing that bothers me is this looks like a sucker play to me. Why? With all the numbers that we were just alluding to. And again, let's not get too cute. Yankees minus 130 here over the Seattle Mariners. All right, let me get to my game, and then we'll wrap things up, and that is the Red Sox and the Tampa Bay Rays. It'll be Tanner Houck for the Red Sox. It'll be Taj Bradley for the Tampa Bay Rays. I'm going to focus in on the total in this game, which is 7.5. Tanner Houck has quietly put together a good year to this point. 9 starts with a 2.33 ERA and a 1.02 WHIP, and even more impressive, that ERA and WHIP is impressive, but he's averaging 6.4 innings pitched per start. The one thing that bothers me a little bit is he's coming off his longest outing of the year in which he threw 112 pitches. But, on the other side of the coin, you don't last that long into a game, and a manager doesn't give you that much rope to go 112 pitches unless you're pitching well. And the Boston bullpen could be relied on, especially on the road. Not so much at home, but on the road they've been tough with a staff 2.91 ERA and a 1.24 WHIP. The Red Sox coming off an 11-3 win yesterday at St. Louis, but they're 11-1 to the under in their last 12 following a win, and that includes 8-0 to the under in their last 8 following a win in their previous game. And those 8 games averages 6 runs per contest. They're also 10-2 to the under in their last 12 after allowing 3 runs or less in their previous game, which they did yesterday in St. Louis. Tampa Bay's Taj Bradley started the year on the disabled list. He's made 2 starts this season. Both of them came over the last 10 days, and he's put together 2 good outings where he posted a 2.45 ERA, a 1.00 WHIP, averaged 5.5 innings pitched per start. And the Tampa Bay bullpen, which struggled mightily early on and did not resemble anything we've seen from Tampa Bay relievers over the last 3 to 4 years. But lately, they've all of a sudden put things together. Over the last 7 games, a staff 0.71 ERA and a 0.71 WHIP. Now, Boston has gone over the total, guys, in their last 4. But prior to those 4 overs, they had played 14-1 to the under in their previous 15 games prior to those 4 high-scoring affairs. So more of an aberration than it is a reality with them going over the total. The 11 runs they scored yesterday, that was their highest run total of the year. Tampa Bay, by the way, off a 5-2 loss yesterday, and it's the 20th time in 48 games that Tampa Bay has scored 2 runs or less. They've scored 2 runs or less in 41.7% of their games played, considering they're going against a good starting pitcher who's been hot for the majority of the season, and a bullpen that's pitched very well on the road. And then Taj Bradley going at home today, very impressive in his first 2 starts of the season. And the Tampa Bay bullpen coming on, I like the Red Sox and the Rays under 7.5 here, Doug.
Yeah, I like what you're thinking there. There's a lot of reason to back that up, and you gave most of that there. There's nothing here I can disagree with there. I'm going to go a little different direction. I'm going to go with the side on this one. And as you mentioned, both pitchers starting pitchers have pitched well. Both bullpens are starting to percolate a little bit themselves. Here's the thing, though. Houck against Tampa Bay, 0-4, 6.7 ERA. Taj Bradley, 3-0 against Boston, and in the fact that Tampa Bay has won 15 of their last 17 at the Trop down in Florida, I am going with Tampa Bay at -105 in this one.
Yeah, 15-2 at home since 2022 against Boston. That's a good point, Doug, that I failed to bring up because I was concentrating on the total. I think also their overall record, home and away, is really good in that time frame as well.
Yes.
So they've owned the Red Sox. This is a different Tampa Bay team, though, Chipper. Not as explosive offensively as we've seen in the last couple seasons. Not as good with their starting rotation. Yes, their bullpen has been hot of late, but it was very disappointing to start the season. Your take on anything we had to say or the pick in general?
Well, every year I'm waiting for this Tampa Bay team to fall. And every year I say they just don't have anything. They just don't have enough. And somehow they manage to put themselves in the playoffs or be a contender or be a tough out, shall I say. The pitching matchup here with Houck being 0-4 with his high ERA and with Bradley having 3-0 against the Red Sox would make me lean toward Tampa. But the key factor is why I would take Tampa if I was to play the game. 57-31 under cash. Tampa Bay's 57 wins and 31 losses against this Boston Red Sox team over that period. I can't buck that trend. I will stay with that. I'll think Boston's the side here with the pitching matchup. Houck 0-4 lifetime and 3-0 on the other side with Bradley. I'm going to take Tampa Bay.
Yeah, good reason to do so. The only retort I would have to that is, like I just mentioned, that Houck is facing a Tampa Bay team, this version of the Tampa Bay team that's not quite as explosive offensively. But, it's a logical choice, and we'll see what happens. Again, Tampa or Boston, I think one game under 500. Right. I made a bet on them before the season start to go under their win total of 77.5. And I still feel good about that. I just don't think the Red Sox are going to be able to produce enough offense, or their pitching, starting pitching in particular, is going to be good enough to even maintain a 500 record throughout the course of the season. All right, so I'll be back tomorrow with Jesse Schule and Sean Higgs. We'll be discussing NBA Game 1 between the Pacers and the Celtics. Wow, the Pacers. Again, we didn't get your thoughts on that, guys, but I thought the Knicks were going to get to the finals, or the Eastern Conference Finals. And then I got swayed after I saw the injuries start to pile up. I went with the Knicks in Game 5. Everybody retorted to my pick in Game 5 by saying, well, then why is Indiana a -140 in the series? And that was prior to Game 5. And you like the Knicks here. Well, I thought as the more the series went on, the more they would get worn down because of their injuries. And that, seemingly was the case. So I said it beforehand. I'm not one of those result guys. And then Jalen Brunson goes down with a broken hand yesterday. And I hated to see that. But, in the shape that the Knicks were in, Chip, physically, and in terms of hoping for a competitive series against the Celtics, I'm almost glad. I had Indiana yesterday, but even beyond that, I'm glad that Indiana advanced because they're more than capable of giving Boston at least a competitive series, more so than the Knicks would have in the condition they were in physically.
Yeah, I agree. And my friends back east said the same thing, and that's why we weren't hesitating to take Indiana the last two games, because we said we didn't think the Knicks, with all their injuries, and they're really totally decimated, they had no shot against Boston. That's the way I saw it. Doug was right. Denver had no shot against Minnesota, but this was a different way to be set up. So I think that was the problem there with the Knicks. But I'll tell you something. As a Knicks fan, I am proud of this team as you can possibly be. This team showed a lot of guts and intestinal fortitude.
Yeah, no doubt.
And they just hung in as long as they can. And, people were thinking that the crowd in the Madison Square Garden was going to buoy them up, but it was just too much to overcome, Ross.
Yeah, it was way too much to overcome. Ultimately, their quality depth, and then some of their players wearing down from playing a lot of minutes. Yeah. And then Brunson getting hurt in the third quarter pretty much sealed their fate. But, Doug, Indiana, I've said right along, when I watch this team play, to me, they share the ball better than anybody in the NBA. Now, again, they have their defensive flaws, but in terms of entertainment for the series coming up against Boston, I think this is going to be, regardless of the length of the series, at the very least going to be a very entertaining series to watch from an offensive standpoint anyway.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that they do a lot of things. I mean, how they shot yesterday though was ridiculous. I mean, they probably don't shoot that well.
It was a record. It was an NBA playoff record ever.
Yeah. So I mean, so that all plays into it, and actually, and Chip and I were talking last Thursday a little bit about Boston's path. Relatively easy to get to the finals. Well, when you think not that anybody had expectations for Indiana, but you think of it. They played a really depleted Knicks team and they played a depleted Bucks team too. So their path has been made easier. Here's the question I have for both of you. And I know this is something Ross just absolutely loves. So that's why I'm bringing it up. All right. Let's just, I'm saying you have $10,000 to play with. Okay. So you want to bet, would you put $10,000 on Boston at -900 to take the series against Indiana? That's my question. I know what I would do.
I would not even contemplate doing that.
Okay.
No.
Number
one, because of the odds. And number two, I just think Indiana's style is going to give Boston more difficulty than people anticipate. I'm not going to predict them to win the series. But again, I don't want to, unless I think it's going to be a complete sweep and washout. There's no way I'm laying -9,000 with any bet, let alone with 10,000. And if I had 10,000, I would make sure my wife didn't know about it. And I mean, spare 10,000 anyway, Chipper.
No, I don't lay those kind of numbers. I mean, it would be the only side. If you were forced to make a bet on it, it would be the only side to bet. Yeah, but I wouldn't get involved in something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll just say I would not either. Okay. But in terms of it being if I had that and if I wanted what I seemingly could pick up some easy money, to me, that would be easy money. Okay. To do that. It's like my absolute favorite bet. Okay. And I challenge people this all the time. NCAA tournament. Whoever is like, whatever the highest odds to win the NCAA tournament. And I've asked any number of different people, well, would you put $5 on that team to win the NCAA tournament? And everybody always says yes. And I said, why? I go, it is impossible for them to win the tournament. It is 100% guarantee they could never win tournament. So you're just throwing $5 in the street. Okay. And I will live with that. I'm more open to that way of thinking though these days, because I mean, sports betting is changing. And so sometimes there's just opportunity money. Forget the odds, whatever. Yeah. Do you have to chase it? If you lose, absolutely you have to. But chances are, you're going to win an awful lot of those bets. And not to say that you don't need to, but nonetheless, I still think there's some, I can't call it value. I just seems like there's easy money to be made there.
Doug, as I'm listening to you talk, it's striking me that if you like Boston to win the series and you think they're a really good bet to win the series, it's not at -9,000. I would almost
900.
Might as well be 9,000. But anyway, my point being, Doug, is I would almost be willing to be patient enough to think that I'm going to get better odds by waiting and making an in-series bet. Again, the Knicks started out at -240 against Indiana in the series. By game 6 or game 5, Indiana had flipped to a -140 favorite. I'm thinking after 3 games, if it's even 2-1, let's say Indiana is able to get a split after 4 games, you're going to get a much better price with Boston than -900. So that would be, if I was to contemplate making a series bet on Boston, that would be my way to go. And if not, I don't feel like I lost anything, because how much are you going to make on a $10,000 bet at -900? So again, that's the way I would go about it, to answer your question.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll be back tomorrow. Doug and Chip will be back with me on Thursday. And we'll be talking NBA on Thursday with Doug and Chip. I'll be back tomorrow with Sean Higgs and Jesse Schule. Until then, folks, for Doug Upstone, Chip Chirimbes, and Ross Benjamin, take care and God bless.